Okay, so here we go. I'm going to try to redo lesson number 3 as to why the cage system isn't really the easiest way to learn triads, especially when you're working triads up and down the strings or across a fret position. Lesson number 2, I told you the biggest problem that I see with the cage system for working on triads, or really even scales, or whatever it is you want to call it. There's the patterns crisscross. A couple of them crisscross each other, so it's confusing as to which pattern you're in. Well, when you start breaking them down into triads, it even gets a little more confusing what you're going to call the triad. So I want to try to get through this lesson for you a lot quicker than the first one I made that I didn't even repost because I didn't like it. So good morning, thanks for watching. This is lesson number 3. And so here we go. We're doing C triads, and we're going to learn how to do them up and down the neck in this video on 3 sets of strings. So we'll start with our C chord down here. I'm going to start on strings 1, 2, and 3, and I will name the notes from the highest string to the lowest string. So it will be like E, C, G, and show you the shape, and then move up the set of strings, tell you the notes, show you the shape. Before I get into it, if you haven't already, please subscribe. Thank you for your support. Have any questions, leave them in the comments. And you know, maybe the cage system is a great way for you to learn triads. It could be, and if it's the only way, it's fine. But this is just another system that is a little bit more thorough, and it doesn't rely totally on the cage system. So however you can learn anything is always a good thing, especially on the guitar, because there's so many different approaches and methods. So if the cage works for you to do triads, great, but to get every set of strings and across every position, you might be a little confused. Maybe this will help break the confusion for you. So we're doing a C chord, E, C, G, G, E, C, C, G, E, and back to the octave, E, C, G. So your shapes are... The next set of strings starts on C, G, E, up to E, C, G, up to G, E, C, back to C, G, E. So you have... The next set of strings might get a little bit more confusing. You have G, E, C. Then you have C, G, E. Then you have E, C, G. Then you have back to your octave, G, E, C. And we're on our last set of strings finally, and you have E, C, G. Then you have G, E, C. Then you have C, G, E. And lastly, have E, C, G. So, if you want to refer back to the cage system for these shapes, that's where you have to do your thinking and your choosing. For instance, this, the first one, the octave of the C chord, to me that looks like a D chord shape. This little thing where you go, that doesn't look like anything out of cage, but really I would relate that to an E chord. And this doesn't look like anything out of caged either, but to me it's part of an A chord. And you might see that in lesson number 4. Let me go to the next set of strings. So you have this, which is C, G, and E. I'm doing the octave so you don't have to see it down here. This little dude, to me, could be part of either your C chord here, or it could be part of your D chord shape there. That's up to you. This one is clearly out of what I would say is your E chord shape. It's your root position, C, E, G, but it would really be out of like this shape here. And the last one is the clearest because it's E, C, G, which, well, almost clearest, to me is out of your A chord shape, but it's really part of your G chord shape too. I don't mean to be confusing you, but this is why caged is so complicated if you're just looking at triads. Let's do the last two sets of strings. This, to me, is a C chord. This, to me, I would call, C chord, E chord, A chord. And finally here you have an E chord, and I'd call this an A chord, and I'd call this a G chord. Hope you have a great day. You get to play a lot of guitar.